Good morning, everyone. My name is Ranin Kazemi. I am the director of the International Business Program here at San Diego State University. I want to welcome you to Explore SDSU, but also to this very specific session, which is about the international business major. Our primary goal today is to give you a sense of our academic program here at SDSU. There are different segments to the session today. We'll be discussing the academic aspect of the major, the IB major. We will be talking about the study abroad requirement for the IB major. There will be a segment devoted to internships and careers. We have a student who will be giving you a sense of the student experience. And there will be a Q&A at the end of the presentations, questions and answers period, where you can raise questions about any aspects of our program or the student experience. We appreciate that you came in and would love to hear your questions and comments, but please keep your devices muted for the first roughly 20 to 30 minutes of the session when we are presenting different segments and different aspects of the IB program. Once the Q&A starts, you're welcome to raise your questions either by using your mics or by typing in your questions. If you are, in fact, typing your questions, you could, of course, do that throughout the session, even as we speak and even as we go through the IB, different segments of the IB program. All right, so let me introduce the IB team, the specific individuals that really help navigate and make the IB program run on a day-to-day basis. Again, my name is Ranin Kazemi. I'm the director of the IB program. And we have a study abroad advisor here, Maribel Franco. Maribel, do you want to say something or introduce yourself?
Sure. Welcome, everyone. I work with students when it's time for meeting the semester abroad requirements. So I look forward to working with every single student.
Okay. Excellent. We have an academic advisor here with us, David Toe.
Good morning, everyone. My name is David. I will be the academic advisor for the International Business major. So I work with students basically from orientation all the way through graduation. So you would meet with me about once a semester to plan out your courses, just to make sure that you're taking all your courses in the correct order, following the correct sequences that you're on, so that you're on track for graduation.
Okay. All right. We have our internship and career advisor, Marisela LaPlante.
Hi, everybody. As Renee said, I'm Marisela LaPlante. I'm your internship and career advisor. Students can work with me from the minute they're on campus, freshman year, and start talking about careers and what you want to do with the major. And then you'll also work with me when it's time to do the internship requirement for the major, which is usually towards the end of the degree program. Nice to meet you all.
Yes, we have our administrative coordinator, Jessica Lopez.
Hello, everyone. Good morning. I'm Jessica. Usually you would either, when you come into the office, you would see me. If not, I answer the phone. And for any emails that or questions that you have, you could always email us. I'll put it in the chat if you have any questions after today.
Okay. Excellent. And we have our IB Society President and graduating senior, Carmelina Herrera. Carmelina.
Hi, everyone. Good morning. So I'm Carmelina. I'm a graduating senior, as it says there. I'm an IB major, emphasis in China and Asia, and I also have a minor in entrepreneurship. I'll talk a little bit about my SDSU experience. So if you have any questions, feel free to leave them at the end for me to answer.
Excellent. So yeah, just quickly that no other program at SDSU has 3 full-time advisors to help students navigate through their program. So we are really lucky and privileged to have this many advisors. And yes, Jessica is really the magical force behind our program in our office. She does a lot of behind the scenes work with the International Business Program. So if you email or come to our office or have questions, chances are that you will be interacting with Jessica as one of your primary and early contacts before getting in touch with us. So let me talk a little bit about the highlights of the program, and then I'll turn it over to David, who will talk more about the academic aspect of the program. Our IB program is really very well placed in the nation. We have been for some time now among the top 10 programs in the nation. Right now, we are ranked as number 8 among all universities that have international business programs. And among the public universities, we are really ranked as number 4. What does that mean, really, is that our program, the IB program, produces really well-rounded graduates who become really leaders of tomorrow. They are future entrepreneurs and business owners in different sectors of the economy. So ask us about, in the Q&A, please ask us about our graduates and where our alumni go. They go to law school, to business school, to various industries, some really top corporations in the US or in the world. We have one of the largest IB program in the country, one of the largest majors at SDSU. We focus on 6 different, we have 6 different business focus options for you. Again, ask us about these, or I'm sure the presentation will also touch on some of these issues. We have an integrated master's degree program we call 4+1, which means that you study with us 1 extra year and we'll give you 2 degrees, a BA degree plus a master's degree in global business development. We have partnerships with 30 plus study abroad universities. Again, that's very unique, or very few IB programs in the nation actually have this many partnerships with different institutions, with different universities in Europe, in Asia, in Latin America. And that's a very unique aspect of our program. We host case competitions annually here at SDSU. Case competitions basically is this very important annual event. We bring students from different parts of the country, sometimes from abroad. IB students who come from different universities or abroad, they work on a real or fictitious business case, often a very difficult case dealing with international business. They have 24 hours to come up with solutions. They present their solutions to a panel of business leaders and judges. The winner is awarded and recognized, and there's a nice dinner at the end of that program. It's really a great experience for all of our students, juniors and seniors. They could participate in the case competitions, while freshmen and sophomores can attend and watch the program. So it's a great sort of event, and one of the highlights of our program every year. A wonderful sort of learning experience. Finally, I should say something about our student business organizations. We have a lot of them, 20 plus business student organizations that we have here at SDSU. We have our own IB International Business Student Organization called IB Society, which has all sorts of activities and events throughout any given semester. But also we have business student organizations that focus on marketing, on environmental issues, on sustainability, on cultural business. So lots and lots of extracurricular activities that are available to IB students and IB majors. All right, so I'm gonna turn it over to David.
All right, so right now I'm gonna go over some of the program academics, kind of which courses you'll be taking, what your plan layout looks like. So first thing I want to mention is that we are an interdisciplinary major. So what that means is that we are kind of like a combination of 3 different majors. So at SDSU, you can be a business major, you can major in foreign language or regional studies. So what we do is take courses from all 3 of those areas to create the international business degree. So you will see that our units are a bit higher than the other majors on campus, but that is because we have such a robust program. You enter the program, you get to select a language in a region, and I'll cover those in a little bit, but currently we have 11 languages and 6 different regions. We do have a semester abroad requirement, which Maribel will talk to you about later, and then an internship requirement that Maricela will cover as well. All right, so first I want to talk about the business courses. They are AACSB accredited from the Fowler College of Business. Here are some of the courses that you'll be taking. You'll be taking these probably in your junior year. You'll cover some supply chain management, international finance, business strategy, global marketing, management, ethics, global environment. You'll also get intro to marketing, different courses like that. Once you go through your introduction foundation business sequence, you will get to choose one business focus area to take more additional coursework in. So we currently have 6 options for our business focus. So you can choose to focus in economics, entrepreneurship, finance, management, management information systems, or marketing. So one of the cool things that we do is you actually be taking your business focus courses abroad. So let's say, for example, you want to focus in marketing. You could, for example, take 2 marketing courses while you're in Spain. Okay, so here are our language and regional emphasis. So I'm sure when you applied, you already selected one. You are not locked into that, so you are allowed to change once you get here. Students do that all the time. Something to mention, and we'll mention it again during orientation, you don't necessarily have to choose the language that you have the most proficiency in. Our program is designed for you to learn a language from scratch. So let's say you already have pretty proficient in Spanish, and you want to learn a new language like Japanese. We totally encourage you to do that if you want to. And it is completely possible to learn a language within the program from the beginning. A couple of notes. You cannot choose the main language of your high school instruction. So for example, if you went to school in the US and your school was taught in English, you cannot do the English in North America track. That is usually reserved for our international students because they're learning English as a second language, and technically they are studying abroad in North America for 4 years. Okay, so here's a broad outline of what the 4 years would generally look like. It does vary case to case. I know a lot of you probably have AP units or transfer credits, or you'll be skipping some language. So that's why it's important to meet with me, because I do create a custom plan for you where I plot out your semesters based on what you currently have and what different minors you want to do. But generally speaking, let's say you come in with nothing. This is kind of what it would look like. In your first year, you're going to take stats, econ, information systems, and you'll have the 100 level courses in language. In the second year, you're going to complete accounting, business law, the second year language, and then within those 2 years, you'll finish your regional course as well. So basically, the first 2 years, generally, you are in the pre-major, finishing up these pre-major courses. Once you finish those courses and you meet our impaction criteria, which is a 2.9 GPA, you will be moved into the upper division. So you'll notice year 3, those are a lot of those business courses that I talked about earlier. We do have upper division language requirements as well. So you'll continue with your language in the upper division business, and then we'll give you an IB doing business internationally course. In year 4, during your senior year, specifically, you're going to take international finance and global marketing with business strategy. This is usually when IB majors study abroad. For the most part, there are some students who are able to go earlier, spring of their junior year, and some students opt to go in their final semester. Some students choose to go for 2 semesters. So Maribel will talk a little bit more about that. You'll finish up your last language course. A lot of times we actually recommend that you finish your language courses before you go abroad, so I'll try to map that out for you as well. And then the internship also happens around here. A lot of students will do it the summer after junior year before going abroad, or they'll wait till their last semester to do their internship, because if you do really well, a lot of times that can lead to a job offer. So that's basically an outline of what the 4 years will look like. Renine mentioned earlier that we have a 4+1 program. So that's a new program that we're actually launching this year. We're getting a first application cycle. So what that means is that for an additional year, you can get a master's in global business development. So how that works is that those 3 senior year courses in business, you'll actually be taking the master's level version of those courses. It'll double count for your bachelor's and your master's, making you able to do the master's degree in a shorter time frame. So now I'm going to go ahead and pass it on to Maribel to talk about the semester abroad requirement.
Hi, everyone. So as part of the degree requirements for the international business major, students do have to spend a semester abroad in their target language and region of emphasis. It's typically 1 semester, either fall or spring. Usually summer is not long enough, and it usually happens in the senior year for students. Some are able to go earlier if progression in the major has happened earlier, or due to some academic calendar differences with schools abroad. We do require students to start planning at least 1 year prior to their intended term abroad, so that they not only budget accordingly, but also save the right courses for abroad, take any appropriate prerequisites, and are on target for graduation when they return from study abroad. We currently offer 2 different options to meet this semester abroad requirement, with option 1 being the study abroad program. Students would participate on a pre-approved exchange program, and the way these exchange programs work is that we have partnerships with universities and business schools abroad. These typically tend to be top business schools in those target regions. Students pay tuition at the home university, but then register for classes at the partner university. So this means that students would be paying SCSU tuition during their study abroad. No additional fees are paid to that school abroad. And we're not only sending students to these universities, we're also receiving international students from these universities that we have partnerships with. The nice thing is that if students have any loans, grants, scholarships, all of those are pre-approved on all of the exchange programs at SCSU. They are also highly immersive experiences. So students would be in classes with local business students abroad, taking 300-400 level courses. And the majority of students are also doing business courses in the target language as well. So that's one of the key differences, I would say, with the IB major and perhaps other majors in the country, that because of our language requirement, students are able to also have proficiency to do business courses in the target language. And then lastly, they also are working towards their degree while they're abroad. So they won't be wasting any time. Any classes that they are enrolled in abroad will be transferable towards IB. And they usually work with me on any course approvals. The second option would be to double count the internship requirement in the major with their semester abroad requirement. And this internship would have to be done abroad in their target language and region for an additional amount of hours. So typically the internship requirement is 150 hours, but if they wish to double count it, it would need to be 250 hours. We don't have these international internships in every language and region of the major like we do for study abroad. So we do ask students to just plan ahead and check with the internship advisor first. And in terms of financial aid and scholarships for the internship abroad option, usually scholarships apply, but financial aid cannot be used. And then lastly, if students are in the English North America track, they meet their semester abroad requirement by studying abroad at SDSU, as David mentioned. In terms of COVID-19, I did want to mention that obviously it has had an impact on our semester abroad requirement, and we've made exceptions in giving students alternative options to meet this requirement, like participating on a virtual study abroad program or completing an alternative project. If in the future this continues to be an issue, we will offer students alternative options, but we are happy to report that we've sent the first 2 groups of students abroad post-COVID, and we're hoping to continue sending more in the future. And next, I'll pass it on to Marisela to go over the internship requirement.
All right, thank you, Maribel. So as we mentioned earlier, as part of the program, you do have an internship requirement. Typically, this is done in senior year, as David mentioned. Most students are doing it in their very last semester. It is done concurrently while you're enrolled in our IB 495 International Business Internship course. We have partnerships. We have a list of companies that are continuously offering internships for our students. We're always adding new ones, evaluating the ones we have. And then as part of that is working with me, and usually students are working with me, you know, a semester or two or more previous to that to make sure they've got a good resume going, they know how to interview, they know what type of internship they want to do. A lot of the times, tying it into your business focus is a good idea, and it all depends on what you want to do. As the major is very broad, I can help students kind of narrow down that business focus and what area they want to work in. We also have a lot of opportunities on campus to connect with companies. Obviously, post-COVID now we're seeing more, but you know, there's always professional panels, and Carmelina will be able to talk to you a little bit of what IB Society does. There's always, you know, professionals coming on for career fairs, panels, lectures, site visits. Haven't done those in a while, but we're planning to get some going again. To give the students opportunity to actually be on site and connect with these companies and explore different business fields. This is one question that comes up often is kind of what do you do with this major? What are our alumni doing? So these are the top areas, and these are definitely not inclusive of what all of our alumni are doing, but we see most of our students going into areas of business development, sales, operations, finance, and marketing. Some of these companies, logos that you see up here are companies where we have current alumni working. Some might surprise you, like Pokemon, right? So I think just thinking with this major that you can really do anything and go into any type of business, any field, you know, nonprofit, government, private. It's really what you want to do with the major. You don't have to, you know, put yourself in a box and think this is all I can do with IB. We've seen our students do lots of things. A lot of our alumni are actually going to grad school too. This is a great major for, we see a lot of students going to law school after completing their IB degree. Or doing specialized programs like MBAs and like supply chains or finance to kind of hone in a very specific skill that they want to learn. So for here, I'm going to let you talk to a student because I'm sure you'd rather talk to a student than us. So Carmelina, as she mentioned, is one of our students in our Chinese and Asian track. And she is a senior, so she'll be graduating soon. So I'll hand it over to you.
So hi everyone, I'm Carmelina. I am graduating senior in China and Asia, and I also have a minor in entrepreneurship. I'm originally from the Bay Area, Northern California. I'm around like 40 minutes away from San Francisco, if you're familiar with the area. So I chose SDSU because of the IB program, but SDSU has like a really pretty campus and it was like beautiful compared to the cold weather where I'm from. But yeah, they mainly like the IB program is what drew me in. When I was in high school, I knew that I enjoy studying business and I really wanted to travel. So when I found out about SDSU's International Business Program, I was immediately interested in it. I also knew that they ranked highly, the IB program itself, but also like the study abroad program. And as I said before, I really wanted to travel. Growing up, I didn't get to travel all that often because I personally came from like a big family and we weren't financially stable enough to like bring everybody. So I knew going into college, my independence, and in my independence, I wanted to travel. Like COVID really messed that up because I didn't end up getting to study abroad, but I'm on the track at least. Business. Also about the International Business Program, I knew I'd get a chance to kind of work in a multinational company one day, which that seemed very intriguing to me as well. So as my time throughout college, going through the program, you really get the best of both worlds. So I really enjoyed like business and cultural classes that we have to take as IB majors. We are in the Arts and Letters College, and that honestly confused me at first when I was a freshman because I was like, well, I'm like international business, so I should be like in the Fowler College of Business. But honestly, we focus heavily on like studying culture and the culture and language of like our different regions. So it really makes sense that we're, you know, beyond the College of Business. So a couple of my favorite that I've taken so far in college were the International Protocol class, which speaks about like global diplomacy, and it actually sparked my interest in that field, which I'll talk more about later. I also took a Doing Business in China course. It was for my like Chinese language emphasis, and that was a really interesting course where, as the title kind of states, I learned about like different business terms, different business etiquette that I could take when in China. And also, lastly, I'm taking an international marketing course, and which is honestly really interesting. I have a passion for learning about different cultures, so I'm super engaged in the class. So looking back at like my time, I am extremely satisfied with choosing the international major when I applied, because I really found an amazing community of like-minded individuals who are like super kind-hearted, and I've honestly learned a lot from them. And in the IB major, as they were saying before, you come across a lot of like international students. So I feel like this is probably one of the most diverse majors out here. So not like I had a couple of friends from like Japan, and also I met a guy from like studying abroad in the US, and he's from Denmark. So you not only are you learning about like other cultures, but you're also kind of firsthand experiencing them from less perspective. As I said before, like you really gain a unique perspective, not only doing business internationally, but just doing business in general, because you really learn how to work with all types of people in terms of like personality and values. So now I'm going to be talking about like more of my extracurriculars on campus. There's a lot to choose from. I would have definitely joined more if I had more time, but the ones that I'm in are AB Samahan, which is like the Filipino club on campus, Alpha Phi Omega, which is a national co-ed service fraternity, the Women's Center, the Pride Resource Center, Beta Kappa, which is an honor society, and last but not least, International Business Society, or IB Society. And I've been involved with IB Society since my freshman, but I didn't truly get really like executively involved until my junior year, where I was Vice President of Public Relations. And my role as Vice President of Public Relations, I had to like gather speakers and network with professionals in the IB industry and on campus to like create socials or invite them for like our speaker series for the club. And currently I am the president of the 2021 to 2022 school year. So I oversee all of the different programs that my executive board plans for the year. And overall, I promote growth within the club. So later, if you have more questions about IB Society, I could definitely answer them, as I really love this club and like the people in it. But other than like my internal extracurriculars, I've also had like a couple internships outside of campus. SDSU, okay, the SDSU Center for Advancing Global Business was on campus. I was an associate, it was an internship, and I basically got to work with the directors of the center on like different research and database projects that I was assigned to by like the directors as well. And I also worked on the graduate cross-border consulting program. So that was a really fun time working with the team and connecting with kind of more high-level professionals on campus. That really upped my network as well. And my other internship was the San Diego Diplomacy Council. I was an executive intern under the prior executive director, Fabienne Perlov. She was amazing to work with. And during my time there, my position was basically to make professional marketing materials for various events, as well as any high-level administrative tasks that the executive director gave me, such as creating like organizational charts and prepping for like monthly board meetings. So this internship at the SDDC, the San Diego Diplomacy Council, really sparked my interest in global diplomacy and possibly becoming like a US ambassador in the future or working in a foreign embassy. I really enjoyed my time there. And if you have any questions about the SDDC, I'm happy to answer them. So to sum up everything, my college experience like really wouldn't have been the same if I didn't pick IB as my major. The saying, do what you love and love what you do, like really resonated with me. And coming out of high school, that was a goal for my future self, because I really just want to enjoy life and enjoy what I really want to do. So the IB program truly guided me into a path that I'd enjoy for the rest of my life. So if you enjoy like learning about different cultures and maybe studying business, IB is definitely the right fit for you. So yeah, if you have any questions, feel free to let me know like more towards the end. Thank you.
All right. Excellent. All right, so we're gonna move on to the Q&A segment of our program today. So yeah, feel free to use your mics or type in your questions about any aspect of the IB program, but also, you know, if you have questions about the student experience, yeah, feel free to also raise questions about that. Any one of us will be, you know, we'll try to address the questions. I'll take the questions, I'll read the questions, and then hopefully either I will be able to answer or some, you know, one of the advisors or the student, IB student who is represented here will be addressing the questions. All right, so we have a question about does the tuition price change when doing a study abroad program? I'll direct that to Maribel.
No, typically if students are participating on an SDSU exchange program, they pay the same full-time tuition. If you're a local student, then you would be paying local student tuition. If you're an out-of-state international student, then it would be out-of-state international tuition, but you pay for 12 units. We should have, I believe, a list of university partners on the IB website under the semester abroad requirement section.
Okay.
That was
yeah.
one of the questions on the chat, sorry.
Okay, excellent. Yeah, if you have questions, you can also raise your hands and I'll give you the chance to open up your mic and raise the question. Yeah, so Claudia asked about the list of available international universities. That has been answered. The next question, why is the IB program housed in the College of Arts and Letters and not in Fowler? So that we are an interdisciplinary program. You know, close to half of the major classes that a typical student take is housed in the College of Arts and Letters. Another half is placed in the Fowler College of Business. We work very closely with the College of Business, but historically this has been the case. It has always been in the College of Arts and Letters. That's basically the reason. It's a very broad, interdisciplinary, cross-disciplinary, friendly, cross-college sort of a program. That's why it is housed in one college, but it also works with another college as well. Anyone else wants to jump in and add to my answer? David, do you want to?
I can add a little bit. So students in the College of Business receive a Bachelor of Science, and the students in the College of Arts and Letters receive a Bachelor of Arts. The main difference is being that you are required to do a foreign language. So that results in a Bachelor of Arts. The Bachelor of Science basically requires more math. So one nice thing about IB is that you don't have to take calculus or business writing. So instead you're doing a language. So that's one of the big differences.
Yeah. All right, the next question is how easy is it to transfer from the Fowler College of Business into this program? David.
It is fairly easy. The main thing is if you are currently listed as Fowler College of Business and you would like to do international business, just make sure that you have your language set. So during orientation, you can come to our orientation, you can email me. You want to make sure that you're in the right language course. The business courses are pretty much the same. They have 9 pre-business courses and we have 7 of them. Like I said, the 2 that you won't have are basically calculus and business writing. So those are the same. The main thing is just to make sure that you get in the correct language course from the beginning.
Okay. All right, the next question is, do I have access to the career advising programs at Fowler, being an IB major student?
Yes.
Okay.
Yeah, I can answer that one.
Yeah.
So the Fowler College of Business has a career management center, and I am your career management center, but they're serving 3,000 students. I'm serving 500. So I'm the equivalency. So you're definitely, welcome to meet with me, but they are also open to international business majors. They are happy. We work collaboratively constantly. All the events, things that we put on are done collaboratively anyways. And they are happy to, any of their programs, events, workshops, anything that they're doing over there is open to international business majors. You're considered part of the Fowler College in that respect. So yes, the answer to that question is definitely yes.
Right. Excellent. Excellent. All right. So we're going to go to the next question. Is it required to minor in a language as an IB major? David?
So you're not required to minor in a language, that's optional, but you are required to choose a language emphasis. So maybe there's a little confusion there, but yeah, regardless, if you're doing IB, you will have to choose one language emphasis and one region. Some students will, if they are advanced in the language, choose to do additional minor. So every once in a while, I have a student that's maybe doing a Spanish emphasis and chooses to minor in French or something like that.
Okay. All right. So the next question is, if I got accepted under general business, is it the same way to get into this program, the IB program?
Yes. So if you're accepted in a general business, it would be the same process. Like I said, I would encourage you to attend our orientation session. So when the time comes to register for orientation, make sure that you're attending ours instead of the Fowler College of Business one. But even if you do attend theirs, it's fine. Just reach out to me early in the semester and I can guide you through the process of changing your major.
Okay. All right. The next question is, how many students graduate from this major approximately every year? I'll give that to David also.
So I don't know the approximate number. I think we just got a list. It's, what do I want to say?
100.
Yeah, close to 80 and 100. So.
It's 100 on the last list.
Yeah, so it's not a typical, it's difficult to come up with a typical average number, but it varies every year. But I think in the most recent case, it's been 80 or close, very close to 100. We are one of the largest majors in the College of Arts and Letters, and certainly also in the university. So we have quite a few graduates every year. The next question is, can you do IB and WHC minor and graduate in 4 years?
I'm gonna assume WHC is Weber's Honors College. Is that correct?
I think so. Yes.
So yes, you can. So it just depends. So if you have AP or transfer credits, absolutely makes it easy. If you don't, then it might require a couple summer courses. The good thing about the honors minor is that one of their courses that you take will double dip for a GE that you have to do. So it's not like an extra class. And the other part is their high impact practice requirement that has study abroad. When you do our study abroad, it actually double counts for both. So you don't have to do an extra study abroad to meet both requirements.
All right, the next question is, what are some of the most common conferences or events IB students attend at the state and national levels? So there are lots of events that the Fowler College of Business organizes, conferences, events. This semester they're hosting a conference, a one-day conference on women in leadership, bringing a lot of important figures from different parts of the country, from abroad, to talk about women in leadership positions in various businesses. There are several conferences or events such as this one throughout a given semester here at SDSU. Students, if they're interested in attending other conferences and events at the state level or at the nation, there are opportunities for them as well. Is anyone else wants to jump in and address that question?
Do you want to talk about the case competition, perhaps? That's
yeah. Yeah, absolutely. The case competition, we do have a case competition that is almost, a very close. It resembles a major event or a major conference. It is, we bring in students from different parts of the country or from abroad, and they are given a very, either a fictitious or a real business case. They have 24 hours. They focus on finding solutions. They present the solution to a panel of judges, and then eventually one team is awarded and recognized. And so that's a major, major event that we host here at SDSU, but we also send our teams, our IB teams to case competitions in other parts of the country. So maybe Marisela, do you want to jump in and maybe talk a little bit more about that?
Typically our case competition team has historically gone to competitions at St. Louis, UMSL St. Louis, University of Missouri St. Louis, Northeastern in Boston. We were supposed to do Washington and Seattle, but COVID happened. So we're hoping to get back on track and sending students again. But so typically the team within an academic year will do 3 to 4 competitions spread out in the fall and spring. Most of them in the spring. We are actually the only competition right now that runs on the West Coast. We actually just opened registration for our upcoming one that in October, and we were full within a day. So we have a wait list of teams that want to come and participate. So that's pretty exciting.
Yeah, that is a very important event every year for us, and it fills in like within sometimes hours. Yeah, that's definitely something that our students can participate in. Again, if you're interested in academic aspects or various conferences and events, we would support you to go to conferences and events at the national and state levels here in our program. All right, so the next question is there any possibility to enter in honors school in the middle of college? I will give that question to David or anyone else who wants to jump in. So I suppose the question is if you can get into the Weber Honors College in the middle of your academic career.
Yes, I've seen students join it in their sophomore year.
Okay, excellent. All right, so the next question is, what is the difference between general business and IB?
So I can answer that. I used to be an advisor over in the Fowler College of Business before I upgraded. Just kidding, they're great. So the main difference is that they don't require language or culture courses. So instead you do more business. So in the upper division, the intro business courses are actually identical. So you're going to get the same marketing, management, supply chain, finance, all that. So the big difference is instead of taking the upper division language, the regional and studying abroad with us over there, you basically, with general business, you would just pick one class from each area. So you take one management, one finance, one marketing, additionally. And you do also get to choose 6 units of business electives. So yeah, it's basically kind of like our program, minus the language requirements, the study abroad and the culture.
Okay, excellent. All right, so the next question is, while studying abroad, what would you say a day-to-day basis looks like while in this program? Maribel?
Sure. So with the study abroad exchange programs, you will have a class schedule. If you're doing 4 to 5 classes abroad, you're expected to go to class. Outside of that, you organize your own day however you wish. So they're highly independent programs. There will be an international office at each of the universities that will organize activities for students. Some of our students get engaged with the universities abroad. Other students, they may join a gym, they may go check out a museum after school. So you have a lot of independence and flexibility with what you do outside of school, similar to San Diego State as well, if you're living on your own. So there's no set schedule for you after school. As long as you attend class, are present, then what you do outside, it's really up to you. And then I think there's a second question as well for study abroad. It says, since I'm doing French before studying abroad, is it necessary to take a proficiency test? No, but there will be some sort of language evaluation for students who wish to do business courses in French. So usually you need to provide us a letter from your professor saying that you have at least a B2 level to study abroad, or have a high intermediate level. But not necessarily a test. It's just a letter or an evaluation form. And then how likely is it to get into your desired study abroad program? This definitely varies by language and region. So if you're in the Spanish track, it's harder because that's our most impacted track. And in specifically the Spanish Western Europe track, because everyone wants to go to Spain, specifically Madrid. So I would say it's really specific to one city. Everywhere else outside of that is not impacted, and it's very likely that you can get into your first choice. Let's see, one more question. Can you be in both the IB program and the Fowler College of Business? I guess if you do an IB major and do a minor in the College of Business, right? So we do have many students that are minoring in marketing, finance, or other areas, which we always encourage as well. So that's how it's possible to be part of both.
Yeah, and then a lot of people ask if you can double major. You cannot double major. So you would have to do a IB major with a College of Business minor. Like Carmelina mentioned earlier, she's doing an entrepreneurship minor.
All right. I think actually maybe we can ask our student rep here, Carmelina. Maybe she can tell us a little bit about IB Society and what are some of the events and guest speakers that you bring to campus, a little bit of that, maybe. Carmelina?
Yeah, so IB Society, we basically have like 3 different kinds of meetings. So we have socials with our members within our org, but also like other business organizations on campus. So like last semester, we had a social with SHRM, which is like the human resource management organization. And also we're planning to do one with AMA, which is the American Marketing Association on campus. So yeah, we have socials, we have workshops as well, professional, academic ones. So this past Thursday, we had a workshop. One of our VP of marketing executive board members, she is an ambassador for Adobe. So she also did kind of an Adobe LinkedIn workshop with one of our vice presidents as well. It was all about like networking on LinkedIn and like how to post and how to like stay engaged on that platform, since it is in like very heavily, or of LinkedIn is really used in the professional world now. And also just for the like Adobe section of it, she taught us how to like create a banner for presenting on LinkedIn. But yeah, we have like LinkedIn work, resume workshop, networking ones as well, just other different kind of like professional ones that really help like our incoming freshmen who like most of them have like no experience with that aspect. So yeah, we have socials, workshops, and lastly, speaker meetings. So as I said before, I was vice president of public relations, and that person usually connects with other professionals on LinkedIn and like the international business industry. So some examples are we got a director of global operations from Qualcomm wants to come, and also the SDSU's Center for Advancing Global Business director. She is going to lead one of our resume workshops this semester. And when I was VP of Public Relations, I brought in, still it was during COVID, so that really broadened our like availability of people we can ask, since it is online and like anywhere in the world. So this lady from Japan, she's a marketing manager from a Japanese notebook company. She came like in the Zoom meeting and spoke. So yeah, we have a bunch of different events, and also we usually have like company tours. So like during my freshman year, I remember we went to like a city that like national operations with like Germany and everywhere. And this semester or last semester, we tried to do like I went at the airport, the international airport, but unfortunately that didn't follow through because like the airport was being like complicated with everything, especially COVID. It's so hard to do stuff. It's okay. But now we're planning a I think we're going to one of the businesses on like the border, and we're having like a bunch of professors and like IB Society members coming with us as well. So we have like a wide range of things that we offer for our students or for our members. We're also open to like all majors, all years. So, you know, if you're not like an IB major or like your general business or like your marketing, feel free to still like come by and check it out.
Yeah. All right. All right. Any more questions? Okay, so yeah, thank you. Thank you for coming and checking us out. Feel free to get in touch with us, you know, through emails or, you know, phone calls. Check out our website. There's the IB email address that you can contact and ask questions. If you would like to set up a meeting with us, we would love to meet with you in person or via Zoom, you know, to discuss our program. You know, we know that this is a very special period that you're shopping around and you're figuring what possible schools to go to or what major to focus on. So feel free to get in touch with us. All right, thank you for being here and have a wonderful rest of the morning.